Here's a few stories coming up on this week's episode.
I got in a stranger's car with my bike in the back. I was probably in, again, 4th or 5th grade. And I remember,
You have a very popular YouTube channel.
I had a sandwich empire.
You got a lot of stories of you ripping off your parents.
Yeah. Like, that seems insane to me now. It seems insane.
I'm so glad you're here because each week we live someone's ridiculous childhood, and today our guest, Josh Horton,
Hello.
has some amazing gems to share.
Gosh, I hope so. I told you before we started recording, like last night I was like, okay, I might need to cancel this podcast because I could think
Absolutely
of
not.
nothing. I thought of zero stories, and I have kids too. You have kids, so I think it's a long day. I couldn't think of anything. I woke up this morning a little bit more refreshed, and I've got some things. So
when you woke up, what was the first story that popped into mind?
when I was a baby, like we moved when I was 1.5 from Texas. My parents were in this like really crappy old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and there was a problem with fire ants.
Okay.
And just in general, but then especially like babies spit up or have milk or whatever on their onesie, and like it was like a thing where the fire ants wanted that stuff and they would freaking destroy babies, right? So to counteract that, they would they put the 4 legs of my crib in coffee cans filled with water,
Right.
so that way in the nighttime I wasn't eaten by ants.
Right.
But I heard,
feel like this could be an origin story for a superhero.
Yeah. And I just heard I guess I just heard my parents telling the story, like just like how crazy it was living in Texas. And then I just started telling the story how, yeah, when I was a baby, they put my legs in water so the ants couldn't get me. So I just in my head thought I was walking around with these coffee cans of water, I guess, so that the ants wouldn't kill me.
That's hilarious.
So that was the first one I thought, because that's the one I feel like growing up, I'd hear my parents tell it, and then it just like slowly morphed in my little kid brain of what actually happened. So yeah,
I just imagine you being in 3rd grade and the teacher's like, yeah, okay, Josh.
Yeah. Let's just kid on, yeah.
So is Texas where you grew up?
No, so we moved, I was probably 1.5. We moved to Illinois.
Okay.
So I was in Illinois from ages 1.5 to 14. And then after my freshman year of high school, I moved to California.
Did you have any siblings?
I have a little sister.
Which one of you two would you say is the biggest troublemaker?
Definitely my sister.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was the good
What makes you say that?
It's been weird now. Again, I'll keep bringing it up because you're talking about childhood, and now I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I'm in dad mode right now.
Right.
And so it's been really interesting. I was such a good kid. Like I never got in trouble. I never did anything wrong. I never got, I think I got a timeout once.
Yeah.
And my sister just was a maniac.
Is she younger than you said?
She's 5 years younger.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember my parents just having to lock the door and her just, slamming on it, which is more on par with my son right now.
Right,
so I thought she was like a crazy person. Now now I don't know if she was a crazy person, my son's a crazy person, or if that's just what normal kids are like, and I just happen to be a good kid. Yeah. Also, just my son is starting to say, some like
yeah.
kind
Now
of
you're
crazy.
like, it's normal to fear for your life as a parent, right?
Yeah. Well, my 4-year-old is starting to say stuff. I was like, I would never say that. I never said that to my parent. Like,
Yeah.
like. I don't like you, Dada. And I was like, I would never say that to my dad. And I was like, I think I was just like a weirdly, really good kid, I think.
Was your sister a troublemaker as a little kid or as like a teenager or both?
She wasn't like a bad kid. She was, I think she was a much more difficult little kid and very opinionated and whatever as a middle schooler teenager.
Yeah.
I remember my parents at our church taught a like parenting class when I was little. And then Hannah was born and the whole church saw Hannah be Hannah. And then some parents came up to my parents like, we want you to teach this class again. Now that you've had some actual parenting to do. So I was a very good kid.
That's hilarious. Would she just like wreck stuff around the house?
Again, now I have kids. I feel like maybe she was just a normal kid and I was just really calm. But she was just, everything was an argument. Everything was a screaming match. Everything was whatever. Like I remember sitting in the parking lot one time. My dad had a pickup truck, and he folds out the the bed of the truck. Me and him are sitting on it. Hannah is in the cab screaming her head off, and someone we knew walked up to us like, "What's going on?" And my dad just said, "We told her she can't drive." And that was it. Like and then it was like she would just scream for like 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't allowed to drive.
And she was like 3 years old or something.
Yeah, in a car seat. Yeah, so 2 or 3, whatever.
And you left her there.
Yeah, and that was just a very common thing for her at the time.
To this day, she's still in the cab of that truck.
Yeah, she's still screaming.
So who were your friends in Illinois? Did you have a friend group?
Sure. I had like church friends and my school friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they were kind of very separate because they all went to different schools. So, but my best friend David Kalmus was best man at my wedding. We're still friends today,
Cool.
and I remember he was at my 2-year-old birthday party, and there's video footage of
And
that.
he still lives in Illinois?
He's in Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was one of my best friends. The crazy thing about David, and looking back now, and I argued with this about with my parents recently, like a year ago. I probably argued with my parents because I would ride my bike to David's house when I was like 4th, 5th grade, early on, and I would go like spend the night there. And I remember telling my parents, like, I think it was like 5 miles away, and you just let me ride my bike
Yeah.
when I was like 11 years old. And they're like, no, it wasn't that far. And we got on the internet and figured. I was like, I love the internet because you don't need to argue. You can prove your point very quickly. And it was like 4.7 miles.
Yeah.
I would ride my bike, leave my house, and there was like a little trail, and I would go to his. Like in the summers, I would just go there every day.
That's the same thing with my sister. I keep trying to get my nieces to come out here from Massachusetts. She's like, I can't put them on a plane alone. I'm like, me and you and my other sister all flew down to see our aunt all the time by ourselves. How is it different? It's like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, we did it.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I get. Has the world changed, or has just our fear changed? Like I feel just more nervous about everything now.
Were you guys riding bikes a lot, you and David?
I was. He was lazy, and he never came to see me. But I would just like always go to his house. Like that was the thing. So I would ride there.
Did you ever fall off it or have any near misses?
Another crazy story to think about now is I remember, and like this is not small, like not crazy small town in Illinois. But it was a town of like 100,000 people.
Oh
so
yeah,
like,
what was the name of the town?
Normal.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, look it up. Normal, Illinois. So I moved from Normal to Malibu.
Okay. That's hilarious.
One time, I don't know if it was something. I don't know what was wrong with my bike, but like it just stopped working. Like
in Normal, Illinois.
In Normal, Illinois, and it stopped working. And I fell over. Bike fell over and like this bald dude with a mustache and a pickup truck pulled over and was like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going over to my friend's house." And I told him where to go. And like I got in a stranger's car with my bike in the back. I was probably in, again, 4th or 5th grade. Like that seems insane to me now. It seems insane. But at the time it was just like, yeah. And I think I probably told my parents, like, oh good, I'm glad you got help.
Yeah.
And now they would like lose their bananas.
No way.
I don't know if we're too freaked out about all that stuff now, or if that was just a terrible idea.
When you said you were a good kid, I didn't realize even the traumatic events had good endings.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get captured then, so that was good.
Yeah. So as you and David, what would you guys spend a lot of your time doing?
It's funny, like my YouTube channel started to get, very much the silly side of sports, right? Like just like stupid sports competition, like a lot of basketball and whatever, but it was always like the silly side of that. And that was kind of what we did growing up. Is like we would just make up ridiculous games. Some of it was horse or, more traditional basketball games.
Little did you know, years later, millions of people would want to watch you.
That would come into play, yeah. So really, it was like that. We would do, Nerf wars, and we had his neighborhood. That was the other thing. Is he had the cool neighborhood.
Okay,
there were no kids in my neighborhood really.
Real quick for people listening, I don't even think we mentioned it. You have a very popular YouTube channel, Shorts channel. If anyone's wondering, it's like sports stuff.
Yeah, it's trick shots and world records.
It's really cool. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So that's the kind of stuff you guys would do.
So we really would just mess around. It was a lot. I mean, David was a very serious athlete, and I was an adequate athlete. So, I mean, being around him had definitely helped me.
Yeah.
But we would do a lot of home run derbies, Nerf guns, water guns.
Where did you guys go to school?
So I went to a kind of a weird little school. I'm grateful for it now. It was a laboratory school for the university.
What does that mean?
So like we had regular teachers, and a lot of them were associated with the university. So we had like a lot of like PhDs teaching us, 5th grade social studies, which was cool. My same school was from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. So same building, pretty small. We're a real tight group of like 30 kids.
Oh, that was your whole class?
Yeah, our whole class, yeah.
Wow.
Super small. And the university, Illinois State University, has the Gamify Circus.
Okay.
And the Gamify Circus kids would come teach us circus skills once a week. So we had the junior Gamify Circus. So that's how I learned how to juggle. Okay. So that was a cool thing.
For folks listening, Josh is also an accomplished juggler. And then, so that started at that school of 30 kids?
Yeah. So in 2nd grade, you're allowed to join the circus club basically after school, and like you put on a show once at the end of the year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like by 5th grade, I was juggling torches, and
Was that your first kind of time performing in those circuses?
oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I performed once a year. that was it.
Do you remember one of those first performances?
I remember watching them because that was the other thing is like when you're in kindergarten, 1st grade, you get to go watch, but you're not allowed to participate. So that's kind of my first memory is watching the other kids juggle torches, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't really remember some of those first ones. I do remember I did some of the other acts. Like I don't really remember the juggling acts. Like I was in juggling the whole time, but I don't really remember juggling until like 7th or 8th grade. But I remember I was like a clown, and we just put on the clown acts were just terrible because kids, kids aren't funny, like, and that kids are funny when they're not trying to be. When kids try to be funny, they're not funny. So we were just terrible. And I remember being so self-conscious because it was like on the parents to go get like our costumes or whatever, right? Like it wasn't like a super professional thing. And the costume my parents picked out had like a giant ring around it to make me look like like a fat clown. And I was so self-conscious about that because I was already kind of a fat kid. Right. And then my mom got me the clown suit, and I was like, oh, I don't like this.
That's hilarious. So what were your parents like then?
My parents were great. Yeah, my mom worked at the university locally. My dad had to drive like an hour to his job. So my dad was like, would leave early, come home late for the first while. He later got a local job. Both my mom and my dad have psychology degrees, and my mom's PhD in like child psychology. So I always felt like I was getting analyzed and everything. But I also felt like it made them very good at like dealing.
You kind of felt like you had me as a homework assignment, right?
Yeah. My mom would even bring me to her classes because she was a college professor. So like there were times where she would just like there'd just be a circle of college kids, and I would just go in the middle, and they would like college kids would just like, try to like, hey, go talk to this little baby kid.
So you were like a case study?
Yeah, 100%.
That's hilarious.
I think the whole point was like to try to interact with like how do these kids interact, and like my mom was just like, just do whatever you want, and I was like, I want to play my Game Boy,
right?
And I played my Game Boy. These kids kept trying to talk to me. I'm just like, no, I'm playing Pokemon Red right now. Like, leave me alone. Yeah. And that was it. Like, they kept trying to talk to me. And like, I think my mom would just like wanted them to have the difficulty of like a kid on a screen, I guess. And I remember that was a weird one. But I was just trying to catch Pokemon.
How would you describe yourself like in school? Like, what kind of kid were you? Quiet, outgoing, nerdy? A dork. I was probably a dorky comedian kid, I would call myself.
Yeah, I would see. Especially it was interesting with that same, like we were all so comfortable with each other in that class of 30 whatever people.
When David was in that class?
David was not. David went to the public school.
Okay.
And so I feel like I was kind of friends with everyone. Like there were different cliques and whatever, but I feel like I was just kind of like a middle. Everyone liked me. Everyone knew me. I was friendly to everyone. And in class, I was probably above average at like talking or participating, but not a nerd, not really I wouldn't misbehave.
Were there kids in the school in that group of 30 that were more rebellious, or what were the cliques, I guess?
The big drama early on in kindergarten was when my friend Max broke a window throwing toys, and I remember that so vividly.
Like it shattered?
Oh yeah, and I remember like just like.
Yeah.
Oh no. And they were throwing something back and forth. I remember the teacher saying, "Do not throw that again." And he threw it one more time, and it shattered that window.
Oh my god.
And I remember, I don't know how I saw it, but like Max like gave the teacher a card later, and it had like some coins like scotch taped to it. And I feel like even in kindergarten, I was like, that's not enough money to fix that.
It's like 6 cents.
It was like a quarter and a dime and a penny.
That's really funny. Did you guys have like a class pet, or did you have pets at home?
So I wrote down a class pet story.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was very into. We're gonna talk a lot a lot about
What grade was?
This is kindergarten.
Okay.
I remember this so vividly. And we'll talk more about reptiles after this story. Here's a good first one.
I want to say, for not remembering any of your childhood, you're the only person here that remembers vivid things from kindergarten.
Yeah,
of all the guests I've had.
I remember some vivid things from preschool too. I can tell you about those.
Oh my god! Okay. I'm ready.
So class pet was a box turtle.
How big are those?
Not crazy, like this.
All right.
But I was very into reptiles.
Medium size.
Yeah, I was very into reptiles. So like I knew this was a box turtle. I don't know if every other kid's it. So to me, we as a class, we needed to decide on the name. And I said, well, obviously we name it Boxer.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
It's a box
Sound
turtle.
logic.
It's a box turtle. And someone else said Bobby. And that pissed me off.
Yeah.
And like I guess one of the things we would feed it was grapes, and some other kid was like, grape. It's like, no, we're not gonna name this stupid turtle Grape.
Yeah.
It's a boxer. It's a box turtle. We're gonna name him Boxer. And then I think we voted, and we're very much teaching democracy, I guess, in kindergarten, because we voted on it. And it was 7, or I'm just making up numbers, but it was like 7 and 7 tied for Bobby and Grape. And only me and Janelle Galloway voted for Boxer.
Okay.
And so they ended up naming the turtle Bobby Grape. And it pissed me off. So the whole year, I had you had to take turns taking care of this turtle, feeding the turtle. And hi, Bobby Grape.
It's not a turtle, it's Bobby Grape.
So mad. I was super into reptiles and amphibians. That was my identity for a little while.
Okay. Did you have pets at home?
I had some pets at home, but I was very much the frog kid, the lizard kid, whatever. Like, I loved all that stuff. Like, probably 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade.
And taking care of them, not like putting a magnifying glass on them.
No. So several stories. I don't know if these will be in chronological order, but at one point we were out frog hunting, because that was something me and David and David's mom would do, and we caught a bullfrog, huge,
bigger than the turtle.
Okay, huge. So I took it home. But this bullfrog, it was in our basement, and it would moo every night to where it would keep us up at night.
Okay.
Because it was like all the
from the basement,
the ventilation we would hear on the 2nd floor.
Okay.
And none of us could sleep, so we had to get rid of this mouse eating frog. But it was the coolest pet I ever had, and I would brag to all my friends that I had a mice eating frog, and we had to get rid of it. That was by far the coolest pet I had. And then the other thing we brought home one time that was a terrible idea. One of these creeks, we just saw just tadpoles everywhere, so we just scooped up tadpoles. I was like, I'm gonna watch them, sprout into frogs, and that's gonna be awesome. Carol was all excited about it, David was all excited, so we did it. We didn't know it was this huge tub of, it was probably 500 tadpoles, was also probably 1.5 million mosquito eggs. And so for weeks, my house was just like a breeding ground of mosquitoes.
So you did get in trouble. You had to have gotten in trouble.
My mom did not like that one. Yeah.
They awful. Must have been everywhere, like in your hair, and they were everywhere.
And it was kind of a thing too, where it's like when they all hatched, it kind of like was like one of the plagues or something. Like we opened the basement door, and they just released into the rest of the house, and they were there for weeks.
The frogs outside, like, thank God I don't live in there anymore.
Yeah. And I think whatever happened, all those tadpoles just didn't make it. They all died, and there were so many of them. And somewhere in one of we did young authors. I don't know if that's a thing or
what
not.
Is young authors?
It was we would write a book every year at school, and there's you would do your about me or about the author section, and there was one of them that my parents showed me. They were cleaning out some stuff, and the about me is I'm Josh, I love animals and whatever. I've had over 572 pets. 562 or 540 of them have died. I was very real about that.
And there's still one mosquito flying around in that house.
There's mosquitoes somewhere for sure.
So you grew up in Normal.
Mm-hmm.
Did the town have any things known of it, or something unique about the town that you think other towns didn't have?
I mean, we had the university. That was a big thing. Illinois State University. It was a good place to grow up. We say now, it's a great place to grow up. Wouldn't want to visit. It's it's very. I got to have a very normal, pretty nice childhood. It was weird moving to LA, where you had to get on a freeway, every day. I probably had gone over 60 miles an hour twice in my life, and then you have to do it every day.
Did you have any sort of jobs when you were growing up?
Yeah. I mean, my big thing was I mowed a bunch of lawns. I mowed 6 lawns for people. So every weekend, my dad would help me. And then I was also just kind of always just a hustler with stuff early Amazon days. And eBay days. I was selling my family stuff on eBay and Amazon.
Okay.
I remember one time we had I told my parents what eBay was, and they're like, I don't want to mess with that. And then they were planning a garage sale, and I was like, whatever we don't sell at the garage sale, let me sell on eBay. And they said, okay. Yeah. And like, we did all the work for a garage sale. And
Yeah.
like they made like $127 for the day or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I remember I made like $500 on eBay.
They must have
selling our
lost
stuff.
their mind.
My dad had some like weird like seed hats that I sold. And, and then I think some of that was also Amazon. I learned how to sell books because it was just a bookstore.
Right.
My mom had all these psychology books from college. And I sold all of her psychology books for like, she had no idea.
So crazy we were alive before the internet.
Yeah. Let's see. You said before 18. This is before 18. So this is probably my sophomore or junior year of high school. I had a sandwich empire.
What are you talking about? You had a sandwich empire?
So I'm a decent chef. I'm not like a lab, but I do all the cooking. Like my wife doesn't cook. I do all the cooking. But in high school, I just started making these sandwiches. The best part about it, my overhead was $0 because I would just go grocery shopping with my parents and they would just buy the groceries, right? So it's 100% profit. And I would buy like focaccia.
You got a lot of stories of you ripping off your parents.
Yeah. And me saying they never got mad at me, so that's good. But I'd buy like jalapeno focaccia bread and bacon, and I'd grill bacon, avocado, couple kinds of meats, couple kinds of cheeses. And that was just for me to eat.
Right.
And this is Malibu High School. There's a lot of money at Malibu High School. One of my friends was like, "I want your sandwich." And I was like, "No, that's okay." And he was like, "I'll give you $20 for it." I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
And I went and bought a $3 burrito.
Okay.
And then the next day he was like, "Hey, here's your 20." And that went on for a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
But then partway through that, another friend of his saw him eating these sandwiches. And so I made $40 every day. Legitimately every day for over a year.
That's hilarious.
And I would go buy,
that adds up quick.
Yeah, it was real money.
What's that, like $200 a week? Like $800 a month?
Yeah, it was real money. It was real money. And,
That's wild.
Yeah.
So the Malibu High School, was that a private school as well?
No, it's Malibu High, public school.
I imagine that school was a lot different than the one in Normal.
Yeah, very different. It's literally where they filmed like Brink and stuff.
I love Brink on Disney Channel.
Yeah. So it's just like the epitome of like a California.
That must have
school.
Freaked your brain out coming from such a small town. I saw this on TV.
And so that just visually, it was the whole outdoor thing was crazy to me.
Right.
Most schools here are like primary. You at least from transition to classes, everything is outdoors. And then very different. Malibu for the most part is kind of old money, where it's not a lot of flashy.
Right.
Kids flash money, but then be like, you know who his dad is? And like that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, he owns Ticketmaster, or like that kind of stuff. So it was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of the guys buying sandwiches was like a famous actress's son. I'd been to their house. They had a money drawer. Where they just had a drawer of money.
Really?
It's like,
what was in the drawer? Like hundreds?
Money. Yeah, there was like 100 stack, a 20 stack.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
That he would just take when he needed to go. Yeah.
So you must have been around a lot of famous people like that at that school.
It was like a few famous people, then there's a lot of like kind of like boring stuff. It was like the guy that invented the zipper's dad. Seriously, like that was legitimately one of them. Like and stuff like Ticketmasters, a lot of investors, a lot of that stuff. So there's a lot of rich people, but then a few like random celebrities. Yeah,
right.
Like, it's kids of celebrities. Yeah.
Did those kids have like elaborate parties and stuff?
There were some crazy parties. I did not attend because again we've established I was a good kid.
Okay.
I
just imagine like even the normal kid's birthday party at some of those would be ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I saw more of that when I was doing some of these parties as a juggler, in Malibu and doing some of the local.
Oh, what do you have any examples?
Just like some of these like Sweet 16s or whatever, where it was like getting $1,000 to do a 4-minute thing in a variety show for a 16-year-old in someone's backyard where they have a band and a DJ and a whatever. Like it's, way more elaborate than my, any event I've ever put on in my life, including my wedding. That was just for some 16-year-old kids thing. There's zebras and giraffe rental. And
what?
Stuff. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
But when you were a kid, you didn't get invited to those, or they just weren't happening?
No, I'm sure they were happening. Yeah, I just didn't get invited.
I wouldn't have either. I would have walked by every day and be like, that's the house I never get invited to.
in high school, I had a job and I was juggling 2 hours a day or whatever too. So I didn't feel like I didn't have time for anything. I was just like, I was locked in. That's juggling. I started getting into juggling in high school.
Were you like competing in competitions?
WGF, pretty soon after. So I started training with Vova Gelchenko.
Oh, okay. For folks listening, that is like one of the top.
Michael Jordan of juggling.
Yeah, he really is.
So I would like come home from school, juggle for 2 hours, then I worked at an Italian restaurant in Malibu. Like that was just, I did that every day and worked every weekend. And
Do you remember any of your? Well, I guess you did that circus growing up, but do you remember performing? Because we talked about juggling again. Like what your first solo performance or booked performance was?
I mean, my first gigs were definitely terrible, like friends' birthday party, like friends, like
Right.
kids of my parents' friends' birthday parties, and I'm sure they were bad. But yeah, early on, I was probably, this is supposed to be like child. This is probably when I was probably 17 when I started doing some of that stuff, and yeah, it was just like anything that would accept me, like,
Right.
oh, you'll give me $50? Yeah, I'll be there.
Right. Do you remember any of those early years, like a gig that you were finally like, oh, this was a good one? Because for me, probably not.
I mean, the one that I was like, I freaking made it was I was in college, like doing, we had to do an internship for college. Like that was for my business degree. You had to do an internship. And I remember seeing the list and there was a Apple Vacations. It was like a vacation company. And I was like, I'm going to take my internship there because I'm going to convince them to hire me to juggle at the resorts. And I freaking did it.
You did it?
Yeah. So as a junior in college.
Wait, how did that work?
I was a good juggler at this time and I performed a bit at this time too. This is junior year of college. And I convinced the director of entertainment for this vacation company to, on my spring break, so all my friends are going home for spring break. Some of them are going on like a college spring break, whatever. But I think I booked like $3,500 to go to Mexico for the week. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do with all this money? Yeah. But also it was 45-minute shows per night, every night at a different resort.
Right. How many shows?
I think it was I was there for 6 days. I think I did 5 shows in
oh my
6
God.
days. And
that's a huge accomplishment for a college kid.
Yeah. And they were awful. And I was so bad at them. Like I wasn't ready. I was not ready for a 45-minute stage show at a resort.
Right.
I remember one of them being like I was like, okay, it's my last thing. Oh no, I've been up here for 17 minutes. And yeah, so and
did you get in trouble at all with the boss when you got back?
No one said anything.
Okay.
And I think that was my answer, like how it went.
Okay.
Never heard back. I tried being like, because that was great. And he was friendly. I met him there, but he never came
entertainment director.
He never came to any of the shows. And I don't know. Right. I don't know if because it was like each resort had their own person, whatever. I don't know if I got a bad report, whatever, but I did not get rehired. So
do you remember?
I think I was a little early.
Do you remember anything that happened in the show that made it so bad, or a particular night?
I did not have enough stuff. That was the biggest thing, where it was just like, I feel like every night I was like, okay, what am I going to do for the second half of the show? And it was like, how do you feel about more club juggling? And there was like other things I was like, hadn't tried that I was going to like,
Yeah.
I remember like, everyone has seen the juggler eat the apple. What if I bring people on stage and they eat the apple while I'm juggling? And like, these people got on stage with me and they're like not having fun. And it's like, it was a mess. But I did get to brag about making $3,500 on my spring break while all my friends were at home doing laundry or whatever.
That's awesome. Did you guys ever go on vacations growing up, or were you a summer camp kid at all? I wasn't.
We went on road trips.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some road trips. My mom also was always going to these conferences, so I would often go with her.
Okay. And the like psychology conferences,
whether she was speaking or just attending. And so I got to see a lot of cool cities I think in middle school. And again, we did a lot of stuff with my mom. So
the name of the keynote would be "Watch My Son Play Game Boy" or something.
Yeah. But yeah, like New Orleans and and when I went to Toronto, like we went to some cool cities that I got to see, and I'm grateful for that, because I do feel like traveling is so important for kids to see. It's so daunting now.
Was that in like middle school or high school?
Middle school for sure. I remember a lot of that. I feel like high school you start to get a little bit more busy, and school matters a little bit more. I feel like middle school would be like, oh yeah, sure, Josh can miss a week of school. It doesn't really matter.
And you just don't want to be with your parents when you're a teenager. You're like, Mom, why would you think I want to go to Paris with you? Come on.
Yeah. I don't want to stay in a hotel with you.
I don't want to go to the Louvre. What are you talking about? What was your room like? Did you have your own room?
I remember there was a time where it was all white, and I like painted one wall turquoise and one wall orange and one wall purple to go crazy, because I was super creative and artistic. And then I was also pretty early on, my dad would show me movies that I probably shouldn't have seen super early. I don't know. Okay. Nothing crazy, but like Braveheart and Matrix, and I had posters from these movies, because it was so cool that I had seen them.
Yeah.
Had a Matrix poster, a Gladiator poster, and a Braveheart poster.
So what do you think the most prized possession in your room was then?
Oh gosh. I mean, probably my Pokemon cards.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really into Pokemon.
Yeah.
I am. Do you know that I'm currently into Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
Do you still have your childhood cards?
I don't.
Oh,
I sold it because I was a hustler and wanted to make that money when they had gone up.
Yeah.
So I sold them and profited at the time, but had I kept them, would have been a little bit better. But yeah, I loved Pokemon. And it's funny being in it now too, and like knowing what all that stuff was worth, because I do have memory of like even then, like there was a shortage of Pokemon. Like it's really hard to buy Pokemon cards right now.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard to buy Pokemon in 1999 when the first stuff came out.
Yeah.
And I remember we like saw like someone put in an ad in the newspaper and said, like, we've got Pokemon. And I think my mom took me to these people's house and they had all these packs spread out on like their kitchen island. And they were like, all right, it's $25 a pack. And my mom was like, whoa, Josh, we got to go.
Yeah.
And like now those are like $500 packs.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy.
So you didn't get any of them?
I remember that vividly. No,
you drove all the way there.
Yeah, we drove all the way there. We didn't get any, but I remember I would do chores to make money to buy Pokemon cards at the time.
Right.
I wasn't doing I didn't really have
the Lawn Empire
didn't have the Lawn Empire or the Sandwich Empire.
Right.
And they were hot commodities. So when we would go in there, and if I could only buy one, or if we were there for something else, I wasn't buying Pokemon, didn't have any money, I would take all the packs off the shelves. I would go to the Barbie section and put them behind all the Barbies so that I could come back 7 days later or whatever when I had my allowance money, and I would go back behind the Barbies. And
would they still be there?
Yeah, it worked pretty well. I've learned now that people.
So you were just good at not getting caught. You did do some shady stuff.
That wasn't that shady. That wasn't that bad.
Depends on how you ask.
Yeah.
There's another guy in Normal, Illinois that was like, they were never there.
Yeah, never had any cards.
Yeah.
But I've always been a collector of other things too. I'm sure I had some other weird knickknacks.
What other kind of stuff did you collect?
I really liked Indiana Jones too, and Star Wars, and so I remember buying some of that stuff. Like there was like a board game that I didn't want to play because I was like, I gotta keep it preserved. And so yeah, I've always been kind of a collector. Had that. I feel like
me too. When I was a kid, any action figure I bought, I would want to play with it.
Sealed?
No, but I'd keep the box.
Okay.
Which is almost pointless.
Yeah, that is pretty pointless.
But I still, even in the garage, my mom sent me all that stuff to give to my kid. And they're all still in the box.
That's really impressive. So there's something wrong in collectors' heads, I think. Like that makes you a collector or right. But it's like if we would go through drive-through and get a Happy Meal toy, I like needed to get all of them.
Okay.
Like the whole gotta catch them all, just like they got me.
Yeah.
Oh, Beanie Babies, I guess too. I had a really crazy Beanie Baby collection too. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was very much into that too. And
where would you get those from?
It wasn't like a Hallmark store, but it was something like that where they sold like greeting cards and like crystal flowers and Beanie Babies. It was like on Saturdays at 10 a.m. there would be like Beanie Baby swap or whatever. It'd be me and like the old ladies.
You went to those?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And you know, I would
so you'd show up to this shop that sells Beanie Babies and crystals, and it'd be a bunch of old ladies and Josh.
And I would like try trading and like dealing money and Beanie Babies with these old ladies. And like I remember one time like one of the ladies like took out like a what do you call it for like when you're looking at diamonds?
Monocle?
Like a monocle, but it was like a like one that you look at diamonds with to look at the tag of my Beanie Baby before we did our transaction.
And you're like, what if I throw in a really good sandwich?
Yeah. It has avocado. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I hadn't thought about that in a long time either. So yeah, I've just always kind of been a like collector and needed to have everything. And so,
I mean, I don't know how far you got into the Beanie Babies, but did you get any of the more valuable ones?
There were so many that were perceived as valuable. Like everyone thought the Princess Diana one was super valuable, and I think it ended up not being. But there was like, I got into the whole thing of like there were errors in the tags and that sort of thing where I had a like Tabasco as like the warthog one, I think, and I had like an error on the tag, and like that was my like at the time like $350 of a Beanie Baby or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was crazy, and I feel like I held all that stuff until it died and was all pretty much worthless. I think we have most of them now, which is...
Did you see the documentary about the Beanie Baby craze on Apple? Came out like maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
So I definitely saw the real movie about it, which was also really good.
With Elizabeth Banks, I think?
Maybe. I don't remember.
This isn't going to make it in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think I've seen both. Yeah. I think I saw the
They're
documentary
really good.
and the movie. They're really good. It's super interesting. And what I learned from that was the person that was kind of driving all the Beanie Baby stuff and like kind of was fighting with them and was the reason they were doing so well, left to go work for Pokemon.
Oh, really?
And then took Pokemon to the moon.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was It is pretty interesting, and that probably was right around the time I transitioned from Beanie Babies to Pokemon too.
Were those the two big things you collected? Beanie Babies
Definitely,
and Pokemon?
those are the two big, yeah, for sure. I didn't really get into comics or... Did you play video games a lot?
I did all the time, yeah.
I wasn't allowed a console until 8th grade,
Right.
so I didn't have any video games. I had a Game Boy, where I liked Pokemon and Mario and some of that early stuff. But I feel like a lot of that was the other thing, is like going to David's house, I could play video games.
Right. My grandparents would every year take us to Toys R Us and give us $100 and be like, you can buy whatever you want.
Wow.
And I remember one year I just kept playing the like demo kiosk of the Super Nintendo because it was like a little bit more than they were giving me, but that's just all I wanted to do. And they're like, Alex, you got to go pick your toys. And I'm like, I'll go in a second. I kept playing it. And then eventually, like, you know what? We're just going to buy you this and it'll count as your birthday present too. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best.
Wow. Grandparents for the win.
Yeah.
That's a big gift. Yeah.
Did you like have a curfew growing up? Did your parents let you stay up late?
So the funny thing was staying up late. I would say we had a pretty normal bedtime, but I learned a little hack with my parents. And this goes back to my food again. If you ask me today, like, what's my last meal on earth or whatever, it's like the perfect plate of nachos.
Oh.
Like that would be that's my favorite food. They have to be good. I don't like ballpark like cheese and jalapenos. Like that's not nachos. That's just chips and cheese. But back then, I got really good at making nachos.
Okay.
I don't know how good they were.
When you're like in 5th grade or something?
Probably middle school, yeah.
Okay.
Probably 4th, 5th, 6th grade. And I would want to stay up and watch TV with my parents. And I remember that the two shows were NYPD Blues and ER.
Okay.
And then I think one time my dad must have said, all right, you can stay up if you make us those nachos.
Okay.
And that just became a thing where I would stay up late if I made.
So you bribed them, basically.
I bribed them. Yeah, they were. It was like a mutually beneficial relationship where they got a good late night snack, and I got to stay up late and watch
nice.
Adult TV. One time there was like this random hotel. This one's crazy knowing my parents, because my parents are, I guess, kind of like me, where they're very much like, they're not fun, but they're just very much by the book.
Yeah.
And for my birthday, we just like showed up at a hotel, ordered pizzas, and like used the pool in the arcade and didn't have a room. And we like got in trouble for it.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, they like made us buy a room. I think they like, we bought a room and like we ended up like watching a movie and then like not staying the night. But like thinking now about my parents doing that is so silly, because that just seems like very not their style. But yeah, for my birthday, I think one of my friends had done that where they did like spend the night. And I think I wanted to do that because there was a cool arcade, there's a cool pool.
Right.
And we were just like, oh, let's just show up and try to be cool. It seems so weird now.
I can't believe you got caught, because that doesn't seem like something you would easily get caught for.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we probably had like 20 people there, so I'm sure but yeah, it's a pretty bold thing to do, right?
Oh, so you threw a birthday party?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, our birthday party was there.
I thought it was just
No. My birthday party was there. Yeah, no. I'm saying ordered pizzas, had like, probably 12 kids over.
Yeah.
And
there was a giraffe, a petting zoo.
Like, oh, it's
just like in Malibu.
Yeah. Juggler. Yeah, that was my venue we tried to get for free.
That's funny. So you had some great stories. We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
But I always ask the same 4 questions.
Oh gosh.
Every single time. You ready?
I guess so.
You ready for the gauntlet?
Okay.
Question number 1. What's first memory that pops up from your childhood that you remember being happy?
I remember my first trip to Disneyland. I feel like that's like a very like, it's hard to not be happy at Disneyland. And I think I was like 3 years old there.
Who took you?
We went, so we had family in California, and we were visiting them and went to Disneyland. So I remember seeing Disneyland for the first time and being very happy. And that whole day.
Did you get to go to the castle, meet Mickey Mouse or anything?
Oh yeah, I'm sure we did all that. I remember some of the like, I have early memories of like some of the rides and Small World and those kind of kiddie rides that seemed like such a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of my early memories of being really happy.
Question 2. You ready?
Okay.
What's the first time you remember growing up being proud of something you did?
Ooh. I mean, I remember one specific basketball game where it was probably like my like standout basketball game in middle school. And my parents really didn't care about sports. So I don't remember any like specific praise from them, but I just remember being proud of myself because I had 17 points in some game or whatever. So like
that's
I
awesome.
remember that was pretty good. I feel like there has to be something earlier, but that's
a
all
great
I remember.
One.
Yeah.
Ready for question 3?
Hit me.
If you could go back and give little Josh one piece of advice, what would it be?
Probably buy all those $25 Pokemon packs.
Yeah.
Yeah. all the ones you hid behind the Barbies. Yeah, just buy all of them and don't open them.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important thing.
Great. You ready for the final question?
Hit me.
Every time before people come, I ask them what their favorite childhood snack is.
Okay, yeah.
At first you said nachos, but we already talked about that.
Yep.
So what is your... And it's more of a meal than a snack.
Yeah, it's true.
You did say something else, though. I'm sure you remember. But for people listening, what is your favorite childhood snack?
When you asked, I thought I was trying to think of something like true childhood, and Dunkaroos came to mind.
Yeah.
And they made a return
I know,
think it was
you
like
told me
a couple years ago.
You told me the other day. I couldn't believe it.
I don't know if I've had them, which is crazy, but yeah, I need to go grab some or bring them home to Cooper for old time's sake.
Well, the reason I ask is I get a gift for people every time.
Oh, you got me Dunkaroos?
I got you Dunkaroos.
Yes.
That's for you.
That's amazing. Thank you.
And what I like to do is crack it open and we cheers it to end the podcast.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
More sugar than I remember.
I was gonna say it's crazy. It's like a snack. Like this is just pure sugar, cookies and frosting. But it would be like a side of your lunch.
Head to gladpod.com for more podcasts or to support us on Patreon. Either way, I am so glad that you were here.